Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah McCarthy and I am super pumped that you are joining me today as we break down the following standard. Today's standard is MA.5.AR.2.2, and this standard says evaluate, which means we're going to solve multi-step numerical expressions using the order of operations. When we think of the order of operations, we have parentheses, then exponents, but you'll notice I crossed it out because we'll get to it in just a second, but exponents are not included this year in 5th grade for the B.E.S.T standards. The next step would be to look at the multiplication and division left in the equation, looking at those operations from left to right and solving them that way. And the final step would be looking for our addition and subtraction symbols going from left to right as we solve them. Here I just wrote down that evaluate also means in this sense where we're able to look at an expression and be able to work out and explain how we arrive at that answer. By the way, this document that I'm using is not something that I created. The Florida Department of Education releases these documents to the public to help teachers like us break down the standards to create or ensure that our resources are standards based. And so I'm just kind of modeling what I do when I break down the standard in order to create the resources that are available to you and you're taking on the B.E.S.T membership, which we'll get to after we break the standard down. Okay, the benchmark clarifications. It says that multi-step expressions are limited to any combination of arithmetic operations, including parentheses, whole numbers, decimals, and fractions are involved here. Again, the expectation is not to include exponents. In the Common Core standards, exponents were included with a base of 10, but this year they are not, okay? So you can just skip that step in your PEMDAS operations. And also, nested grouping is not included here. And this is an example of nested grouping. That's where you have parentheses within a set of parentheses or brackets. We don't want that. The last one, it says decimals are limited to the hundredths place, and expressions cannot include division of a fraction by a fraction. So in 5th grade, we work on division of whole numbers by fractions and fractions by whole numbers, but not fractions by fractions. So make sure that we're not doing that. There are some connecting or related benchmarks here. All of these NSO standards are our place value standards with decimals to the thousandth place. The next round of NSO standards are the operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of decimals. And we have a fraction with division of fractions, and that's the understanding that if we have a fraction, we know that 2/20ths can also be written as 2 divided by 20. This fraction standard right here is the adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, which could be a part of our order of operations. Some terms that you need to know. Expression means that there is no equal sign present. A lot of times when we are evaluating expressions, we're solving for it, but there is not an equal sign to begin with. We just have numbers and operations. If we have an equal sign, it's no longer called an expression, but it's called an equation. And the order of operations, some people refer to that as PEMDAS or GEMDAS, but again, it just takes you through the steps of parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, adding and subtracting. GEM-DOS, some people refer to it as GEM-DOS, where the G stands for grouping. So that includes parentheses and brackets and other kind of grouping symbols there. But the only symbol that I've seen being represented is the parentheses. So that could change, I don't know, but right now that's what we're focusing on. Where are they coming from? Well, in 4th grade, they practice with true and false equations, solving both sides of the equation, and writing equations with multiplication and division. In 6th grade, they will solve multi-step problems and evaluate algebraic expressions using substitution. So this is a huge element. The order of operations continues throughout their education. So this is the year to make sure that they've got a wonderful start to it. For the purpose and instructional strategies section, it says the purpose is to use the order of operations to evaluate numerical expressions. Here it says begin instruction by exposing students to expressions that have 2 operations without any grouping symbols. And use the same digits to introduce. That way you can have a really good conversation about what's going on. So here we, as an example, 6 times 3 plus 7 and 6 plus 3 times 7. Understanding which operations that you do first, having a conversation about that. And I wrote a note here of the first video because when we get to the resources that are available to you in your membership, the first video really tackles what they're trying to say here. Okay, a note here that we should first work to simplify within parentheses. That's the P in PEMDAS. We look at solving the parentheses first, what's within it. It says within the parentheses, the order of operations is followed. So if you have parentheses and inside of that parentheses is an expression that has more than one operation, solve everything inside of those parentheses first. Next, while going from left to right, perform any multiplication and division in the order in which it appears going from left to right. And the same thing with addition and subtraction. Okay, during instruction, I love this. Have students explain how they use the order of operations. And that's a great time to address misconceptions because there will be a lot. Make sure you include reasoning and error analysis tasks, which of course, Math Misconception Mystery includes. So not just error analysis though in the terms of having a problem where you're analyzing an error, but really having students explain their steps and having great conversations that way. For common misconceptions and errors, it says that sometimes students confuse that multiplication must always be performed division because when we're thinking of PEMDAS, that M comes before the D, but that's not the case. You solve the expression in order from left to right. So if you have multiplication and division in the same expression and you're trying to decide which operation to go with first, you look at it and solve it from left to right. Same thing with adding and subtracting. Okay, left to right, good. Here, I love this question there. This would be a great way to include into your instruction. And here, insert one set of parentheses around 2 numbers. This is in McCarthy Math 155, and I will show you where that is. But I love this because it shows the power that parentheses have. This is a kind of situation where students will have to place parentheses around it, solve it, and then get what the value is. But if they were to place parentheses somewhere else, how does that change the value of the entire expression? Okay, all right. Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more. Notice down here how we have the inclusion of fractions right here, right? And decimals. So taking on the best will definitely provide you with extra practice in both of those areas, okay? Also take a look at this type of question. In which step does the first mistake appear? Because I will point you in the direction of more problems just like that. All right? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what you have that's aligned to the standard in your membership. Here is the website. You click members, enter here. Taking on the best. You'll probably need to log in like me. Go to 5th grade. We are on the AR strand. And we are right here, A.R.2.2, evaluating numerical expressions. So click that one. And here you have 1, 2, 3 video lessons with the bronze resources. So if you have the bronze membership, the silver membership, or the gold membership, you have access to this. So the first one is how to evaluate numerical expressions. And here just it's a video lesson that guides them through, similar to what they were talking about in that standard breakdown. We have the same numbers there, different operations happening, and which order do we solve it in. We introduce PEMDAS and explain why the implementation of the order of operations is important. That's a great first lesson. Then we go to the basic, evaluate basic numerical expressions and evaluate more complex numerical expressions. And what I'll do is I'm going to open up the silver resource to kind of show you closer what those video lessons look like. So if you have the silver or the gold, you have access to these printables. You know it's a video lesson when it has that video icon. I'm going to scroll down because we just looked at that. And then we have this another video lesson. So this is the more basic version, solving using the order of operations. And notice here we have the same digits. We have the same symbols, and the parentheses are in different positions. So it really shows students the power of parentheses and where they're positioned. Then we have extra practice. Same kind of thing, same numbers, same symbols happening, same operations, different position of the parentheses placement. Here's another video lesson, same kind of thing, right? And more complicated with decimals. So we had fractions and a decimal here, and just decimals over here. Okay. This is your math mission. It's a math task that requires a little bit more thinking from the student. So here's a type of question that says, insert one set of parentheses to make the expression true. Actually, that should be to make the equation true. I'll have to fix that. Explain your thinking on the lines below. Insert one set of parentheses around a different pair of numbers. Then evaluate the expression. So here they're going to make this equation true, try to make this side equal to 15 by placing parentheses, and on the other one they'll place parentheses around a new pair of numbers and showcase how that changes the value of the expression. All right, finally we have the math misconception mystery problem. This is a video lesson, so you just click play and I'll guide you through the whole process. So students will solve the problem on their own or in a group, and then they will watch as 4 characters solve that same problem, looking for their errors that they're making, because 3 of them are incorrect and only 1 has the correct answer. Now these characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes, but it's a really fun way to analyze mistakes and error analysis. After the characters present their work, your students will then fill out this detective report, highlighting who is the correct character and helping the others, evaluating their work and showing them what they need to understand for next time. So that's the silver. Your answer keys are right there too. And in the gold plan, click that. If you have the gold plan, you have access to everything. You have a mini assessment aligned to the standard with a variety of question types. Okay. And you have your answer key. You also have the perk of having this breaking down the best episode right there with all of your resources. These episodes are also available on YouTube as well, but here, that's one of the perks of having the gold membership. Also, most people choose the gold membership because of the McCarthy Math 155 program that is combined with this one. McCarthy Math 155 is a daily math intervention aligned to the Common Core standards. So in Florida, we used to have our version of the Common Core standards. Now we are in the B.E.S.T standards, but there's some stuff that does not connect, but there's a lot that does, especially with this standard. So I'm going to go to 5th grade. By the way, that 155 stands for 155 grade level videos. So right here, numerical expressions. There are 13 additional video lessons for students to practice solving numerical expressions, finding the mistake, and then the writing numerical expressions is a different standard, but it's still good. So day 21, order of operations introduction. Then we get into the basic order of operations, and then to more complex. So you have a lot there with the gold membership. And so much of this is aligned to the B.E.S.T standards. The only thing that you would have to watch out for is if there are exponents with powers of 10, which I'm looking and I don't see any there. Okay, yeah. So you should be ready to rock and roll. You have a lot if you have the gold membership. Okay, I think that is it for going over what you have access to for this standard. I hope that it was helpful to break it down and then see the resources that are aligned to that standard. And before we go, I want to remind you that what you wake up and do every day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you for stepping into the leadership position that you have and guiding your students to success. Thank you for inviting me into your educational world. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode, so I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye.